live. You see they're dry. You see there's no marrow in the bone. You see they're scattered all over the valley. They ain't even full skeletons. I mean, the bones are scattered all over the valley. They're just bones. But answer me a question, Ezekiel. Can these bones live? Ezekiel answers the only way he knows how to answer. Lord, you know. Critical race theory was born out of critical legal theory. Am I teaching y'all something today? There emerged two common beliefs linking all critical race theories. First, white supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's just a fact. How in the world are you going to fight against that being taught in any school? White supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's a fact. Why don't you want that to be taught in school? You let your schools teach us that Columbus discovered America. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that George Washington couldn't tell a lie. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that some slave owners were beneficent and good slave owners. There were no good slave owners. Anybody who owned people was evil. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that Abraham Lincoln was good for Negroes. No, Abraham Lincoln was trying to save the Union. And Abe Lincoln himself said if he could save the Union and keep black people in chains, he would do it. That's a lie. Come on, somebody. You let them teach us about a white Jesus. You let them teach us that Native Americans were the aggressors. Come on, somebody. That white folk had a manifest destiny and that the Pilgrims were good at Native Americans. That's a lie. All day, every day, you let them teach us lies. All throughout my history in school, I was taught lies. But you got a problem with critical race theory because it teaches the truth that white supremacy has subordinated black people and people of color. The right to bear arms. Let me just back up a little bit and let me take you on back to the late 1960s when Ronald Reagan was the governor of California. And they were oppressing black folk, and a group of men and women known as the Black Panther Party decided that they were going to defend the rights of black folk. And the Black Panthers decided that the Second Amendment wasn't just for white folk. So they strapped themselves with guns and showed up at the Capitol in California. And when they saw them Negroes with guns, come on, somebody. That's why I say if you ever really want to get gun laws changed, just strap all these Negroes up. They'll change them laws before the week is over. When the Black Panthers, watch this, I want you to read, the California legislator passed what was called the Mulford Act. It was a gun control act that decided who could get guns, who couldn't get guns, what could be in your background, what couldn't be in your background. It was the first time in history that the National Rifle Association, the NRA, supported restrictive gun legislation, all because black folk had the nerve to get strapped. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, go get strapped. Amen, somebody. Y'all gonna say Bishop told us to get strapped. I said it. Go get strapped. It just got real quiet up in here. But y'all already know I'm a triple P. Amen. Y'all know what a triple P is, right? A pistol packing preacher.
Yeah, Ruben, I heard that was nice over there.
Peace, fam. Good morning to every one of y'all. Let me see what y'all got writing down here. All right. Pensacola, New Jersey. I see y'all do. That's it. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from.
You've got a responsibility to go back to Lodabar.
New Jersey.
Your work's not done just because you made it to the palace. Bless the name of the Lord.
Tell a friend, tell somebody we're on right now.
Help somebody else.
Let's get it. Good to be back in the studio. Let me get,
Don't blow up the bridge because you made your way.
I gotta try to get my
Thank you, Jesus.
Twitter spacers and my Instagrammers on deck.
Out of Lodabar.
All right, let me see. Let me get my Twitter space in here.
Thank you, Jesus.
There we go. Tell somebody we're on the air right now. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Let me get Instagram in here. Peace to those in the Twitter space. Peace to the gram.
That's the name of the Lord. Somebody gotta tell themselves it's all right if you got it now. Just hold it.
I think we ready to rock and roll.
After a while. Oh, bless the name of the Lord. Thank you, Jesus. You've got to make up in your mind that what God has for me, it is for me.
There we go.
You might not have it right now. May not get it next week. You might try to stop me from getting it. But if God said it's mine, I want you to know after a while, I'm going to get what belongs to me.
All right. Let's go.
Sometimes God got to strip what you got so you don't depend on yourself.
So Trump and them are paying reparations to Ashley Babbitt, to the family of Ashley Babbitt, the January 6th rioter who was killed by police because she wouldn't stand down as she was trying to break into the speaker's area after breaking into the U.S. Capitol. So you get reparations for being a criminal, but not for being a victim of white supremacy. We're going to deal with that today. $30 million lawsuit they settled by the family of Ashley Babbitt. But if you all will remember, just last year, the Supreme Court in Oklahoma rejected the reparations lawsuit by 3 remaining survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre. One was 110 years old, one was 109 years old, and one passed away since then at 102 years old. And they told them, hell no, y'all gets no money. But Ashley Babbitt, who tried to overturn an election based on Trump's lies about the election being stolen, her family is getting $30 million. $30 30 mil, y'all. Let that sink in. Really, let that sink in. 90.7 WTCC. Good morning and welcome to the Spoken Word. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II. And as usual, we'll be telling it like it is through cultural idioms and nuances that shape the order, ethos, and chaos of the African American experience. Words have their own vitality. They shape their own consciousness and create their own context for interpreting social and spiritual reality. The spoken word contains the power to reshape the landscape of society. 6 minutes past the hour of 9 a.m. And I want to thank my friend and brother, Elder Rick Robinson, for bringing us up until the 9 o'clock hour with Monday morning inspirations. Good gospel music playing, good way to start out your week. You can hear Elder Robinson every Monday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., bringing you the best in gospel music. Great way to start out your week. I had a great week, great last couple of weeks. Continued on with my birthday celebration over the last few days. Spent a little time with the fam in on the happy island of Aruba, and so had a great time. Just being with the people I love and celebrating 60 years. Only happens once, y'all. You only turn 60 one time. So listen, I encourage you all, when you have those milestone events in your life, celebrate. Take some time, reflect, pause. If you're a believer, thank God. Um, Hang out with the people that you love and all of that. So I've had a wonderful birthday celebration. Was able to go out and spend some time with my wife and celebrate. My children threw me a birthday bash with a Steeler themed party, Pittsburgh Steelers. It was very unique. Um, Lifelong Steelers fan, so they all had Steelers jerseys with numbers that represented the order of their birth. Um, all my grandbabies were there. My parents, I'm blessed that both of my parents are still here, and they were there. My great uncle, cousins, and was able to celebrate with them. And then my church family celebrated my 31st pastoral anniversary in the midst of all of this, and then capped it off with the trip with my siblings to Aruba. So it's been a great time, and now I'm getting ready for the annual workers meeting of the Greater Vermont Ecclesiastical Jurisdiction, over which I serve as the jurisdictional bishop. It'll take place in, it'll be in Connecticut. So, but hey, maybe some of you all may want to take the drive. Yeah, it's not that far. Um, so you can take the drive up there to Connecticut. You're going to have a wonderful time. Um, the 13th through the 16th. And of course, before that, we got Mother's Day that is coming up. Um, so just a whole lot. It's still Taurus season. Happy birthday to every Taurus that is out there. And no, I don't believe in the zodiac in terms of, no, I don't check my horoscope and all that. So all you super duper religious folk, don't be tripping. Okay, don't trip. All right. Okay, don't be hating. Anyway, my son had a birthday this past Friday. So happy birthday to him. He turned 18. My baby boy, the last of the Mohicans, the one who was wearing number 10. uh,
and he's going off to college. I'm so proud of that young man, as I am of all of my children. So it's been a great time for me, and we're back at it, back at fighting against injustice in the city, in the state, in the nation, and across the world with my fellow freedom fighters that are locked into this battle. And you need to get locked in as well. So let's get it. Tell a friend, tell somebody I'm on the air right now. Rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. I do see the 413. Thank you for the happy birthday, Mother Linda Green, and the happy anniversaries and stuff like that. Appreciate that. Let's see who else is up in here. Atlanta is in here. Chicago is in here. Pensacola, New Jersey is in here. Houston, Texas is in here. Somebody is from Marbella, Spain, all the way from Spain. Thank you, Spain, for being in the building. Rep your city, rep your town. I'm going to check um, Bridgeport. Those of you who are asking, the workers' meeting is at the Holy Tabernacle Church in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Love to see you come on through and stop through. And anyway, who else is? Quebec is in here. Another Chicago. Cincinnati is in here. Go on, rep your city, rep your town. Long Island, I see you. I see you. New York, Strong Island is in the building. Arizona is in the building. Good morning to my fraternity brother, the Bishop Designate, Dr. Earl Newton from Phoenix. Good morning to you, sir. Albany, Georgia is in the building. Yes, sir. Good morning to Indiana is in the building. I see you, Sheldon Barnes, in the building from Indiana. Who else is up in here? Come on, rep your city, rep your town. Let me know. The St. Louis is in the building. St. Louis, I see you, Allie Chin, on Instagram. Springfield, Mass, representing the field, is up in the building. So, hey, a little bit of everybody from a little bit of everywhere. Continue to rep your city, rep your town. Tell somebody the bishop is on the air right now. We're going to get into this conversation right after this. Don't you dare touch that dial. Don't go nowhere.
But the essence of growth is changing. The being in the road will be the end of the road if you refuse to change.
I see you, Andover, Minnesota. Keep repping your city and your town. We'll acknowledge you on the other side of the song.
Come on, yeah. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Come on, but don't stop. The essence of life is growth. But the essence of growth is change. The being in the road will be the end of the road if you refuse to change. Your life will never change until you get disgusted with where you are. Whatever you don't hate is what you tolerate. You must learn from the past, plan for the future, and live for today. For it is your daily routine that determines.
All right, rep your city.
It's the choices that you have made up until this point that
Rep your town.
So break the cycle that doing enough is simply good enough. You only get out what you put in, so don't settle for the crumbs when you can have a whole loaf. So push yourself beyond your limitations. Come on. Reach a little higher.
Dig a little deeper.
Dig a little deeper. Don't stop. Come on. Reach a little higher. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Don't stop. So you gotta break the routine of trying to beat the system. Manipulators will always try to bypass the process for the quick progress. There are no shortcuts to success. There are no elevators to the top. You gotta take it one step at a time. You gotta break the routine of allowing others to get into your head and control who you are and where you're going. You see, when you're about the positive, you're gonna always have haters. But don't let your haters push you down, let your haters push you forward to the next level. So when people show you who they really are, don't perceive them to be something else that they're not. See, a zebra does not change his stripes. So you gotta keep pushing yourself to the next level. Yeah, there you go. Come on. Come on. Yeah. Go a little further. higher. Dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. Go a little further. Go a little further. Come on, come on, come on. You gotta understand the greatness is the nature that you were born out of. You'll never discover your greatness without hard work and dedication. Greatness says more about who you are and what you expect for yourself. And greatness will always attract greatness. Show me your friends and I'll show you the future. You're just a step away. You're just a step away. You're just a step away. Don't ever give up. Come on. You're just a step away. You're almost there. Come on. You gotta push yourself beyond your limitations. You see, there's no mountain too high, no valley too low. You can go where you wanna go.
All right, let's go. Let's get it, y'all.
I look in the mirror and I like what I see. A strong, beautiful black woman staring back at me. One
Seen a lot of pain.
and had her share of sorrow, but who never gave up hope for a brighter tomorrow. I've been lied to, cheated on, stolen from and hit, but it just made me stronger and I refuse to quit. That's right. And though I've been tempted, I refuse to stoop to their level. I
was above that nonsense.
of the devil. The devil who said I wasn't good enough, cute enough, or worthy of love.
Okay, Tampa Bay.
But with divine power from above. Power
Oh.
to all things through Christ, which
All right,
strengthened
Sister
me
Montaigne.
and brought me out of darkness so that I could see that I'm smart, I'm beautiful, I'm a child of the King. Abundant love for me he came to bring. Oh yes, when I look in the mirror, I love what I see. She's looking good. That strong, beautiful black woman, that woman.
90.7 WTCC. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of the Spoken Word. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II. Some folks have been asking me, do I feel old? I feel like I did when I was 59. My granddaughter teases me, and it's okay because she's supposed to do that. She's 13, so she don't know no better. 413-736-2781. 413-736-2781. Somebody said you're as old as you feel. Somebody else said age ain't nothing but a number. Somebody said 60 is the new 40. I take all of that. I take every word of all of that. Yeah. Here's the thing, though. Some people don't get here. Some people don't get here. So I'm glad to be here. Yes, sir. Somebody else checked in. Let me see. Yes, little baby girl, I'm drinking water. Thank you for your health check on me. I appreciate that. Andover, Minnesota. Yeah, Andover, Minnesota checked in. Anybody else checking in? I don't know where Andover is in Minnesota, other than it's in Minnesota. The Tampa Bay area is up in the building. Portland. Yes. Portland is in the building. My friend, Sister Montaigne Scheider, who we go way back to the Million Man March Committee. It's hard to believe, Montaigne, that the Million Man March was 30 years ago this year. 30 years ago this year. Wow. Anyway, Montaigne is celebrating her mother's heavenly birthday on this Cinco de Mayo. Happy birthday to your mom in heaven. The 413 is in the building. Who else is checking in here? Charleston, I see you. That's my friend right there, Sister Trudy Grant, another one of our beloved freedom fighters. Sister Trudy, you can find her everywhere. The Conference of National Black Churches, the National Action Network, the National Council of Negro Women. It's like every conference that I'm a participant in, Trudy is there behind the scenes running stuff. So she's definitely a good person to know. Good morning to every one of y'all. Let me see. Yeah, so today we're going to deal with this hypocrisy. I see my daughter Whitney. Good morning, baby girl. Going to deal with this hypocrisy. You know, every day this nation reveals it. You know, it has gone back to, you know, when they say make America great again, basically what they're saying is take us back to the day where we can be openly racist and we don't have to hide it. You know, all these laws and stuff that y'all passed and stuff, we had to pretend, you know, that we were down with it. Now we're going to just change those laws back to where we ain't got to listen to none of that. And we can just be racist and do. They raised $656,000 as of the last time I checked for a white woman for calling a 5-year-old black autistic child the N-word. Then she played the victim because she got exposed and the video went viral. She said, I have to protect my family now. And white folks raised her $656,000. She's now set the goal at she first set it at $100,000. They broke that. She's moved it to $250,000. They broke that. Now she's moved her goal to $1 million. So she's going to potentially become a millionaire for calling a black autistic child a nigger. So now you get paid to be a racist. Let me play this disclaimer because y'all need to know that the views and opinions, they are all mine.
The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of WTCC Radio or Springfield Technical Community College.
So, had to let y'all know that. But can you imagine that? And so that's why, like, when they talk about all the progress that we've made, whatever progress we made, we have regressed. We've regressed. Because in 2025 America, you can become a millionaire by calling a 5-year-old autistic black child a nigger. And with white people on there celebrating her. White power, yes. I mean, they're applauding her. Applauding her. That's another subject. It's too much. Isn't that what Medea said? It's just too much that is going on. And then these evangelical Christians. Yeah, think about this for a minute. How do you as a Christian teach your children honesty? Okay? How do you emphasize the importance of truthfulness and then justify supporting a man who told 10,000 lies in public during his first term and is a pathological liar? How do you do that? How do you teach your children, based on your Christian principles, respect for others, but then you support a man who uses all kinds of derogatory and disparaging remarks about anybody who he disagrees with and shows a blatant lack of respect and civility? You teach your children about accountability. Then you support a man who deflects blame onto everybody else and is always reluctant to acknowledge his mistakes. You teach your children about empathy. Then you have a man who shows no empathy, a man who is completely self-serving and has a lack of compassion. And you can tell that by what they're doing with these mass layoffs and stripping funding and taking funds away from children's cancer research and all of that. How do you teach your children as a Christian about the value of humility, yet unequivocally support a man who exhibits grandiosity and who has an insatiable need to be admired? Have you all taken a look at the cabinet meetings that they when they release these videos of his cabinet meetings, and they go around the table and all of the members of Trump's cabinet stroke his ego? It's a big ego stroking meeting. Mr. President, you're the best thing since sliced bread. There's never, ever been a president who has ever been like you. And they just go around with all of them kissing Trump's behind. Mr. President, no one else has ever done what you've done in their first 100 days. This is the best 100 days of any president in the history of America. And they go around the table and stroke this man's ego. It is sick. These are some sick people. 413-736-2781. I mean, they are really some sick. And the longer they stay, the more I'm convinced that they're sick. Because if you stayed for 100 days and you don't see the dysfunction and you don't see the depravity in this man to the point where you've left, then you are just as sick as he is, as far as I'm concerned. And for those of you who still justify voting for him, you are just as sick as they are. I said what I said. I said what I said. Okay? So in this decision, Ashley Babbitt's family filed a $30 million lawsuit, wrongful death lawsuit. Trump administration has settled this $30 million lawsuit. And so America has again revealed the depths of its moral bankruptcy and its racial hypocrisy. Somebody said to me, it's not America's hypocrisy, it's Trump's. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, America didn't just become racist when Trump became president. Y'all stop that. Trump is a symptom of a larger sickness. This nation continues to ignore its past. It wants to hide its past. It wants to erase its past from the history books. That's why they're burning books. That's why they're complaining about critical race theory and DEI and trying to keep black history out of the schools and all of that because its past is soaked in blood. And it doesn't want to acknowledge it. So I don't know how many of you all paid attention to what happened last year. 3 of the last known survivors of the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. One has since passed. Viola Fletcher was 110 years old. Leslie Randall, 109 years old. And the late Hughes Ellis, who died at 102 years old. Last year, they were denied by the Oklahoma Supreme Court. They were denied justice. Now, these elders survived one of the worst episodes of racial terrorism in U.S. history. Okay? And if you don't know the history, learn it, and teach it to your children. Because the way these folks are going, both with Trump trying to threaten federal money to any school system that teaches it, and these crazy Republican governors trying to ban it from. Matter of fact, you can't even teach about the Tulsa race massacre in Tulsa, in the schools in Tulsa. You can't teach about it in Oklahoma, where it happened. So they're not going to learn it in school. One of the worst episodes of racial terrorism ever, when a white mob decimated what we call the Black Wall Street, the prosperous black community of Greenwood. Good morning, caller.
That's right. It's been a lot of terrorism in America, and we need to know about it so we can prepare for what's to come. And by hiding it, you're not aware. They want us to be dumbed down and think that it wasn't so bad. It was a long time ago. Get over it. But, to me, it seems like we do have to teach our own at home and in our churches, because the schools are not going to do it. And that's not really their job to teach us our history, and the solution was, back in those times, was a civil war. It actually was the best solution. And Nat Turner had it right. He did have it right. He was all in, and he says, and I'm out of here, because he figured that was one way that he could make a statement. And some people might disagree with Nat Turner, but he had the solution, because the Civil War did, I think it followed that, that was the only way to bring the South and the North together in some kind of semblance of peace. And I just thank you for letting us know that, these things are being taken away from us, our rights, our civil rights that our forefathers fought for.
All right. Appreciate you, sis. God bless. 413-736-2781. And here's the thing. It's one thing when they say, we're not going to pay reparations to you. You were never a slave. You don't know anybody who was a slave, which is not true. My father, who is alive, is the grandson of slaves. His grandparents were slaves. My Uncle Ben, who's 92 years old, who is alive. My Aunt Agnes, who's 90, who is alive. My Uncle Monroe, my Uncle Bob, who are alive. They are the grandchildren of enslaved black people. But y'all act like this stuff was so long ago. Y'all don't know nobody who was a slave. Yes, there are people alive today whose grandparents were slaves. Be that as it may, the point I'm making is they always use that as an argument. But what about this Tulsa case that was thrown out of the courts last year? These were 3 people who experienced it, who were alive in 1921 when it happened. They lived through it. They watched their loved ones and their relatives being murdered in the Tulsa Race Massacre. These aren't people who came along generations later who were trying to get paid for what happened to their ancestors. These are people who lived it. And America still said, hell no to reparations for them. They gave it to the Japanese. And they gave it to so many other folks. But when it comes to black people, even when you are a survivor, even when you lived through the atrocity, this nation says, no, you can't get no reparations. They survived it. They watched a white mob decimate Greenwood. They watched them murder hundreds of people and reduce Black Wall Street to ashes. And they only wanted recognition, repair, and recompense for the horror they endured. And America said, hell no. And yet, this administration, in a move that exposes the true face of white grievance, they have agreed to settle a $30 million lawsuit by the family of Ashley Babbitt, who was a violent insurrectionist who died while storming the U.S. Capitol in the name of a lie. Okay? She was not a peaceful protester. She was part of a mob that beat police officers, that destroyed federal property, that smeared feces on the walls of Congress, who attempted to overthrow democracy because her preferred candidate lost an election. She died in the act of a criminal action. She was trying to breach a barricade that was meant to protect elected officials from a violent horde. She should have complied, like y'all tell us. She was not a hero. She was not a patriot. She was a criminal. And what did America say? America said, let's pay her family reparations. Good morning, caller.
Hey, this is Let's Get Verified.
Yeah, let's not. They said, let's pay her family reparations. Let's just let that sink in. Let that sink in for a minute. Viola Fletcher, our ancestor or our elder, who watched her friends and her neighbors and her family members gunned down in a white-led massacre. And it wasn't just a white-led massacre, it was one that was backed by government inaction. She lived through seeing this. But her claim was dismissed. Ashley Babbitt tried to overthrow the government and was elevated to martyrdom by the same country that tells black people to move on from slavery, lynching, and segregation and mass incarceration. This is not an act of justice. This is white supremacist revisionism that gets legislated and legitimized. And what message does this send? This sends the message that black elders who survive racial atrocities will be denied healing and closure, while white anarchists who attack democracy will be rewarded. Just like the Shiloh Hendricks woman, who's thus far received nearly $700,000 for calling a black child a nigger. Black pain, even when proven beyond a reasonable doubt, does not get compensated. But white violence is excused with compensation. Law and order, as they are so fond of saying, only applies when the victims are white and the aggressors are black, and then oftentimes when the aggressors are white, like January 6th, like the Shiloh Hendricks case. So let's be clear. This ain't about a legal failure because the legal system is working the way it was designed to work. This is just about a lack of morality, about a moral collapse. This administration's decision to settle the Babbitt lawsuit, to entertain clemency for all of the convicted insurrectionists, Trump pardoned them all, and then said that they were going to start a fund to compensate the January 6th rioters. So white folks who tried to take over the government, they're going to set up a fund to pay them reparations, but the families of black people who spent 246 years in the system of chattel slavery, then another 160 years dealing with segregation, Jim Crow, lynching, brutalization, and dehumanization, we get zero. They want to erase the DOJ records of their crimes. This is a white nationalist worldview that protects its own at all costs while vilifying those who dare to demand justice. So in this America that we live in right now, in this dictatorship, in this fascist America, it's run by an authoritarian dictator. In this America, the children of white rebellion get reparations, but the survivors of black resilience get rejection. This is where we are. This is where we are. No to a 110-year-old survivor, but yes to the criminal who tried to break into Congress. What kind of country? Because I'm tired of y'all talking about make America great again when it was never great. What kind of country pays millions to an insurrectionist family while telling black survivors of racial massacres that their trauma is not valid? What kind of country is that? Good morning, caller.
Yeah, good morning. Who gave you the license to call people sick? Because how sick were you people watching Joe Biden?
Get off my phone. You're sick. You're sick. I don't need anybody to give me a license to say anything I want to say. I don't need a license. I said what I said. And if you're one of those sick black people who defend this wicked administration that is trying to erase you, that's your problem, not mine. I suggest therapy. 413-736-2781. I said what I said. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, she's one of them people that worked in the master's house.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she's one of the people that worked in the master's house, thinking everything the master do is right.
What's the matter, boss? We sick?
That's right, we sick. We sick. That's her problem. She's sick. And her boss is sitting there telling her she's sick. We having a problem. This has been our problem for years. And it's not going to change. If that would have been a black man try to overthrow the government, you know what happened to him. He would have been hung by now.
Oh, no doubt. Listen, if those were black people on January 6th, we wouldn't be reading about them going to jail and then being pardoned. It would have been a bloodbath. I think there would have been hundreds of dead black people on that day. It would have been the worst massacre in U.S. history.
Exactly. So, that's why I said the law, they made the law for them. That's their law. They made law for them. So when they do what they do, they can be forgiven and get paid to be forgiven. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate the call. 413-736-2781. Hey, listen, if you one of them who support this mess and you want to call in, okay. Give me a call, 413-736-2781, and tell me why. I love to know why black people would continue to support a man who has let you know, I want to erase black history. I'm taking Jackie Robinson off this. I'm taking Harriet Tubman off of that. I'm erasing black history. I'm going to find schools for teaching black history. I'm going to take federal funding away from school districts that teach black. They took $47 million out of the Springfield school system. Right here. And I know that caller was from Springfield. And you got the blackdacity to call here trying to defend that madness. Yes, you're sick. And I got the license to say so. 413-736-2781. You mad? Stay mad. Oh, boy. So you got, somebody type in the comments, stay mad. Stay mad. You got the Tulsa massacre, where the survivors are denied justice. Over 1,000 black people massacred. 35 blocks. If you don't know the history, that's it. Thank you. Stay mad. 35, that's my man Nathaniel Anderson. 35 blocks of businesses and homes destroyed. 35 blocks. The survivors asked for basic reparations, and the court dismissed their claim in 2023. It was appealed to the Supreme Court of Oklahoma. They upheld the dismissal. They don't care about their legacy or the racial violence that they endured. Then you got Ashley Babbitt, who was made into a martyr for white nationalism. Broke into a federal building. Engaged in criminal activity. Her family gets settled a $30 million lawsuit. Come on, man. You support that, you're sick. Good morning, caller.
Yes, Bishop. In 1921, that was the first time that bombs were ever dropped in America on a city in America.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that historical point. And it's not the last time. In our lifetime, some of y'all will remember the organization MOVE in Philadelphia. They dropped a bomb on MOVE. That's what they do to black people. So Ashley Babbitt was a criminal. She wasn't peaceful. She was actively in the progress of committing a federal crime. Her death was a consequence of her own actions. If Ashley was black, Trump and everyone who supports him would be saying she should have complied. That's what they would be saying if she was black. You know, they want to claim that the officer got away with murder for doing his job and protecting Congress. So there's a racist double standard. Tulsa survivors deny because it was too long ago. No standing, even though they were actual survivors who lived then, who lived through it. Babbitt's family was rewarded despite her active role in a violent crime. So black pain is denied and white rage is rewarded. So my questions to you, I want to give y'all a series of questions and y'all can answer it in the comment section. Thank you for telling her to stay mad. Thank you, Mother Annie Beard. My question to you, then I want to give you some action steps. Should the government pay reparations to someone who tried to overthrow it? Somebody put that question in the comment section. Should the government, let me put it in there and then y'all give me your answers. Should the government pay reparations? That's crazy, isn't it? It seems like a self-explanatory thing. Should the government pay reparations to someone who tried to overthrow it? I'm typing fast, so that was a valuable class I took in second grade, by the way. Somebody said, hell no. There, throw y'all answers in there. Should the government pay reparations to someone who tried to overthrow it? Good morning, caller.
You got to play the song, Bishop, on that one. Hell to the no.
Hell no to the no, no, no. All right, I got you, bro. 413-736-2781. Should the government pay reparations to someone who tried to over? Let me cue up my song here. Let me get my song queued up. Um, there we go. Get my song queued up. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. Tell to the no. To the no, no, no.
All right.
Pay the reparations.
All right. Appreciate it. There you go, y'all. Well, okay. Next question. What does it say about America that it pays insurrectionists but ignores survivors of racial terrorism? Huh? Second question. Somebody get that question in there. What does it say about America that it pays insurrectionists but ignores survivors? Come on, y'all get that question up in there. I'm being lazy on this question. I need somebody else to type it in there. What does it say about America that it pays insurrectionists but ignores survivors? All right? Get that question in there. All right? I'm looking at y'all answers. I see hell no. I see hell no. Yeah, y'all, y'all. And then my final question, and this is what I want to know. This is a serious question. Nelly just did this mess. Why do we call for unity when the system keeps dividing justice by color? Huh? Why do we do that? Why? I'm serious. Nelly said after Trump's 100 days um, that we need unity and positivity. Why? There's the question. It's in the section. Why do we keep calling for unity when they keep dividing justice by color? And we always got some black person jumping up talking about we need positivity, we need unity. We don't need to be unified with white supremacists. What are you talking about, Nelly? Or any of the rest of y'all? Always telling us we need some unity. No, we don't. We need justice. Okay? Good morning, caller.
Yes. Hey, Bishop, about this togetherness in America, what do
Go ahead, caller.
white man and this black man is going to have if we work on the same job with one another? Other than that, we're never bumping each other, and we just keep going with life until we have a connection somewhere like a BB or some event somewhere. I mean, it's you don't have to cry or get on our knees and beg for friendship as the white man. We just keep going life.
I don't think we're begging for anything from the white man. I think we're demanding justice. That's all. You know, let's not act like we're begging for something. Asking them not to abuse us, not to dehumanize us, demanding that we get treated like citizens is not begging the white man for anything. It's demanding rights that we rightfully have. Okay? Um, yeah.
Hell no. Come on, wait to the no, no, no. Come on, come on. Hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Come on. Hell, no, no, to the no, no, to the no, 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 to the no, no.
All right, let me give you the action steps and get out of here real quick. Here's the action steps. First, we need to continue to demand federal reparations. All right? Let's not let that HB whatever bill stay stuck. All right? The Tulsa survivors and their descendants, all of them need to have reparations. Then we need to expose and reject the normalization of white nationalist violence. They're trying to make it into patriotism. And we've got to cut. We can't be silent on these things. We can't be scared something's going to get taken away from us if we speak truth to power. So we've got to demand our reparations. We've got to continue to speak truth to power. And then you all need to contact your legislators, speak out publicly, and stay vigilant. Let them know, hey, listen, you all need to do the right thing when it comes to what's happening in America and not just sit idly by saying and doing nothing. How many of you have been in contact with your members of Congress or your senators in the last 100 days? How many of you have said, hey, have you paid any attention to the craziness that is going on, and what do you plan on doing about it? We need to do that. Listen, I got to get out your way. Once again, the 13th through the 16th in Bridgeport, Connecticut is our annual workers meeting at the Holy Tabernacle Church of God in Christ. On that Tuesday, the Reverend DeVale Hodge will be my speaker. The Bishop John Thompson will be with me on that Wednesday. On that Thursday, Mother Valerie Fields, our jurisdictional supervisor. And then on that Friday, on the 16th, I'll be the speaker. It all happens at 7 p.m. nightly in Bridgeport at the Holy Tabernacle. Host pastor is Pastor Willie Moy. Looking forward to it. If you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, 35 Alden Street, Bishop Talbert Swan Way, the brick church right there at Six Corners. We're building better tomorrows by changing lives. Today there'll be prayer, praise, and preaching. You're welcome to be our special guest. I got to get out your way. Check me out on Friday on the Black Love Experience, where we'll continue the conversation. Until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember God loves you, and so do I. And I got the license to say what I want to say. I'm out. Peace and blessings.
For all the brothers that passed, but more particularly one because it affected me drastically. I remember my sister gave me the call and I was in awe. Matter of fact, it felt the farthest from reality. She seen somebody post RIP with his name and I said I doubt it's the same friend I had since the 7th grade. She said I'ma call her sister and double check and call me back. Said he hanged himself in his room and had been there for days. Initially it didn't hit me, then it clicked and I remembered that I hadn't seen or heard from the homie all week. Wish she had told me what had him feeling lonely and weak. I guess everybody got demons we don't even speak of. Cause I was with him exactly a week before the call. Just
was under 20, he couldn't even purchase alcohol. My best friend for like 6 or 7 years. I'm not ashamed to say I shedded plenty tears, but it was hard. He was somebody I had plenty memories with. The first person I ever burned any trees with. The worst feeling is knowing that you would leave us and all this grievance without a reason. We're not the first people to ever believe in me. When it came down to it, you knew you could call me if you needed me. Cause that information I wouldn't have ever imagined. It's sad thinking about it. I ain't happy that it happened, but it made me. There was plenty times when I thought that it would drive me crazy. But looking back on it now, I see all the drive that it gave me. I learned more about why I am who I am on the daily. I know it may sound crazy, but I'm glad that it made me. Yeah, was born the son of a pastor, he was who I was named after. Matter of fact, I even got some of his characteristics. Both of us got messages for the people. I just do mine with rhythm on beat. He do his on the pulpit with scriptures. Well connected, respected in the community. Ever since I was little, I felt like there was some pressure on me. It started off with little stuff like when my folk brought us to church and then they forced us to get up and say a testimony. Getting older, had to watch how I acted in public, cause people wouldn't hesitate to put that in discussion. Chatting like, isn't that the pastor's kid? I'm like, yeah, that's me, but please don't expect me to be exactly like my daddy. Don't discredit my family for how I am. I'm not a little kid no more, I'm now a man. And I ain't pointing fingers, I'm not trying to do no blaming at all. When it comes to how I came up, I wouldn't change it at all, because it made me.